Welcome to Canterbury Cast, the podcast where you'll find sermons, conversations, and all things Canterbury UMC. We're glad you're here.
Welcome back to Canterbury Cast. I'm Haley Smith, and today we're talking about something brand new and incredibly exciting here at Canterbury. It's our Youth Philanthropy Council. Today, I'm joined by two members of the council, Spencer Otto and Clare Austen Blackmon. They're going to share how all of this came together, what they've learned along the way, and a lot of other cool stuff that we're going to find out about. We're also have with us today Megan Sumrall from our youth staff. She's been instrumental in this whole thing. So she's going to give a lot of insight on how the process went, and it's our first time to do this at Canterbury. So welcome, Spencer, Clare Austen, Megan.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Let's just jump in. Let's just start at the very beginning. How did you first hear about the Philanthropy Council, and what made you want to apply?
I think I heard about it first from Gan, just kind of making like an announcement at it before midweek. And I was talking to one of my friends about it, and we were like, that's a good opportunity to kind of look around the community, as I think we come from a pretty like privileged place around being like Mountain Brook. And I thought it was a good opportunity to look around to something bigger than us and kind of help out.
Great.
Yeah, I kind of heard it in announcements, and then I was like, this is something I've never done before. And so I was like, I'll give it a try. And I knew a couple of my friends would do it. So we all kind of signed up, and it was a lot fun.
So I know there was a sign up, but there was also like a pretty serious application. What was that like? Like what did you, when you filled out the application, what were some things that were required?
I remember just talking about like what we had been involved with and like what we have been doing with YAC in general, because I think they were looking for people that had been involved a lot at Canterbury. And so I remember doing that and talking about just like any other service we'd kind of done before that. I remember putting Rise, because I've done that a couple times here.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, and we also had to put like a time we've kind of seen like a lack of funding and how that's affected an organization and organizations we've been a part of. It also is kind of crucial at the top to be like, make sure you had time for it, which was usually right before MYF every Sunday, so like 3 to 4 or like 4 to 5, around those hours. And it was make sure you were available so you weren't just like missing every meeting.
Yeah. So you guys met on Sunday afternoons, and that was all throughout the fall, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when you applied, did you fully realize what you were committing to, or was it just something you really you wanted to do?
It was something I definitely wanted to do, but I would always because we had Sunday school from 9:15 to 10:15, and then church from 10:30 to 11:30. So then we'd go eat lunch, and then it was already time to kind of be back at the church in a couple hours. But it wasn't bad. It was fun when I was there. So I wouldn't say it was like a burden to go, but it did take up some time. But it was fun.
Well, tell me what a typical Sunday meeting looked like. Megan, why don't you take that one?
Yeah, so a lot of our meetings, I was still in school at Auburn, so I was actually Zooming in for most of our meetings in the fall. But at first, it was a lot about teaching them the vocabulary that kind of comes with the nonprofit world and writing grants and doing things like that, and making sure we were all on the same page and kind of had an idea of what was really going on and kind of the point of the Philanthropy Council, I guess. And then we had a couple speakers come on a couple different Sundays, and then a couple Sundays would end up being service projects. Like one Sunday we made a bunch of peanut butter and jellies, which was unexpected but really fun.
So Megan, you brought a lot of structure from your own college experience with this type of work. That's really shaped how this council worked out, I think. Can you tell me just a little bit more about that?
Yeah, for sure. So I graduated from Auburn in December with my bachelor's in philanthropy and nonprofit studies. And so I took a class at Auburn called grant making, and that class we were given $1,200, I think, and we actually partnered with United Way of Lee County and had a curriculum about how to write a grant, how to make a mission statement, all of these things. And when I was interning with Canterbury and kind of the YAC staff and Rachel and outreach a little bit during the summer, she kind of introduced this idea of a Youth Philanthropy Council to me. And I was like, I took a class that sounds just like that. Like, let's see what we can put together. So that's kind of where the idea came from and how the curriculum came to be.
Yeah. So before this council, Spencer and Clare Austen, like, how much had you ever thought about how money actually gets given away?
I mean, this kind of sounds dumb. I've always questioned the name nonprofit because I've always kind of wondered like how that works. I felt like somebody had to get paid. So that's something that I kind of would think about whenever it'd come up. But like beyond that, I guess I just kind of always thought money was being donated by churches and things and didn't really put too much thought into it.
Yeah, I always knew like the tithing. That was always, my mom always talked about that. But then I never really knew where that money went once you had tithed the money to the church.
Right. So really, you guys have probably learned through this that it's probably harder to give money away than you think. Why do you think that is?
I thought it was hard because there's so many like organizations out there that you want to give the money to. And so it's kind of like difficult trying to figure out which ones you want to help out. So I feel like that was like a challenge, but it was kind of cool to like see how all the money and how like the thought process you really had to put into it.
So, Spencer, what surprised you the most about evaluating the nonprofits that you guys looked into?
I think it was like the difference in like the mission statements and things, because I always kind of thought nonprofits and things kind of all functioned around like similar ideas, and they're all functioning around like great ideas and things, but I thought the like differences in the way that they handle their work and the like different events they do and stuff and how unique it is to each organization was really interesting.
Yeah, I can see that. So just for our listeners, the council was entrusted with $12,000 to give away. And that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money and a lot of responsibility. So what did that feel like?
I thought going into it, it was a lot more money than it was going to be, because I thought like, $12,000, we can give like $2,000 to 6 places and that'll do a lot. And then I looked at it and I was like, wow, these places need like 10,000 to do a thing. And I think it made it a lot easier to maybe make the decision a little, because we had more to give and it was easier to maybe spread it out a little bit or put it all into one big project. Like I remember Megan talking about like the infighting at the Auburn project over $1,200. I was like, I felt like we didn't get that as much because we all knew we were making like a really strong impact with that amount of money.
Right. Megan, that...
Yeah, so something I harped on at every single meeting, which Clare Austen and Spencer already know what's about to come out of my mouth, but I was constantly talking about help per dollar and kind of what that means when you're looking at a grant that you're trying to give away. And you have grants where there's a project that's hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're trying to get off the ground, and does your $12,000 help? For sure, but how much help is it really providing to this project versus another organization that's maybe asking for $15,000 total and you can supply $12,000 of that? Like, you've almost fulfilled the project.
Taken care of the whole thing.
It was really a lot about that, and I think it was, like Spencer was saying, pretty shocking for them to see kind of how much money goes into making nonprofit stuff happen, and like how much money you need to actually really help and get a program off the ground. So.
Right. So let's go back. I have a question. How many were on the council?
We had 7 students, I believe, and then myself, Rachel Estes, and Missy Cunningham all kind of helped facilitate, but all decisions and actions were carried out by the 7 students.
Okay. So my next question is, were there any disagreements?
I kind of thought we were going to disagree more, because I thought when it came time to make a decision, we were all actually pretty like logical and thinking through like the help per dollar, like Megan was talking about. I can't remember any arguments. I think we all just wanted to come to like a cohesive decision around what we thought was best and what would be like the best long-term impact for people.
Yeah. Okay, so before any big decisions were made, you guys wrote a mission statement. Clare Austen, tell me about that mission statement.
Our mission statement was, our mission is to serve and support the youth in our community through faith, using love and compassion. And that kind of guided us through when we were receiving grants and kind of looking at applications for the grants, like how they aligned with us and if we should pick them, or like how we should go about if we were going to like match with our sole mission statement.
Yeah, and that's super important.
Yeah, definitely. And it's always a great guidepost to have. I think to have a mission statement you can go back to. And our students picked a bunch of the questions that actually were on the grant application that organizations filled out. And one of their questions was, what is your organization's mission statement? So they were really able to go back to ours and compare and contrast and kind of see where they lined up the best.
Very good. So I know that our listeners are going to want to know, who did you award the $12,000 to?
Well, we awarded it to 2 foundations. We gave a majority of it to the College Choice Foundation, and the second part was to Oasis.
Yes.
And I think it was 10,000, 2,000 split, or was it 9 and 3,000?
It was, I believe, 9,150 and 2,855. My math might
I
not
remember
be
that number now. It came back to me.
You remember that number.
But that was the ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So after you decided who the money was going to, I know that you guys actually invited the recipients here on our serve day that we had back in January, and you actually did a formal presentation, and the whole church got to see you giving the money away. So that was pretty cool. What do y'all remember about that day?
I remember holding the check for College Choice and worrying about dropping it when I went up on the stage.
Classic. No, we were so grateful that we even had like a little bit of a portion of Serve Day to kind of spotlight the Philanthropy Council and what these students were doing, and also highlight these 2 organizations that are doing great work. And I think they did a great job. Callie Chapman, one of our students, did a great job kind of giving a quick overview and rundown of what the council had done and how they made their decisions and everything. And I couldn't have been any prouder of all of them that day. So that was pretty cool.
It was a great moment, and the church was just so excited to get to see it. There's just been a lot of positive feedback and statements and excitement all around it, because a lot of people didn't even know this was going on. This was totally going on behind the scenes in the youth department, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to spotlight this on the podcast, so that the church could learn more about it and really hear from you guys what your experience. So talking about your experience, do you think that this particular experience with youth philanthropy, do you think it connects your faith now a little bit better to real world action and helping others?
Yeah, I think it definitely taught me to like kind of be more mindful and to kind of like really think and connect my faith with where my money's going to go with, and kind of make sure I especially like as we get older and kind of start getting like more jobs and go into the future, and make sure like when I am like looking to donate money that like I'm making sure it's going to go where I kind of like want it to go, and making sure it's going to like reflect the right things and like kind of where like God would want to like kind of see his light shine. So I feel like it kind of taught me to be more like mindful and more thoughtful of all like the behind the scenes when I'm kind of donating that money to others.
Right. I love that. And Spencer, has this changed just how you think about generosity in general?
I would I would say so. I think it's kind of made me realize how much is always going on. And sometimes, you get kind of lost in your world. And it kind of was something to show me that, like, I don't know, it's something I try to focus on in my life a good bit is faith isn't just on Sundays. And, like, care and trying to carry yourself in the right way and being kind isn't just being in the church. And I think it was a good reminder of that and showed that there is always something to be done, like, about and around the world.
Sure. Megan?
I think it wasn't only kind of the idea of Youth Philanthropy Council, and I was so glad that it kind of took off in the way that it did and that they bought into it, but even more so watching this group of high schoolers come together and kind of decide on changes they wanted to see and stuff that they were passionate about, and they really put, like, their faith and their best foot forward all at the same time. Mm-hmm. And it was just so mature and so cool to watch that I feel like I learned a lot from them and kind of how they operated and worked through this. So I'd say definitely, like, it has definitely intertwined my faith a lot more with what I studied in school. So it was awesome.
Yeah. Will there be another youth council this coming fall?
Yes. So we're very excited that we are going to take applications again, probably towards the end of this summer, and go through the fall, and maybe it will be a tradition at Serve Day to kind of announce and award grants and everything. We met with our students after they decided where the money was going to go and talked to a bunch of our juniors that participated and asked them if they would be interested in serving on the council again. And they said yes, which was super awesome. So hopefully we'll have Clare Austen back. We'll be sad to see Spencer, our lone senior on the council this year, go. But he did a great job and was such a leader when it came to the council that we're very grateful that we had him for the year that we did. So,
yeah. Well, I just really want to thank you guys on behalf of the church staff for your leadership and your willingness to just step in and take part in something challenging and super meaningful in the end. And Megan, thank you so much for leading them.
Thank you so much for having us and for wanting to highlight them. So
Sure. Well, that's it for today. I hope that you guys will join us next time.
Thanks for listening. To learn more about what's going on at Canterbury, follow us on social media or visit our website at canterburyumc.org.